get that opportunity.
Barnaby, is there any way back for you in the Nationals?
It's been a pretty traumatic issue. I'm still basically a member of the National Party. I have not joined another party, but that's for me to consider over time. And you can't. I'm not going to do this thing where you're out for 24 hours or 48 hours and then you're back. No, it's not that. This was a really hard decision that I made, and I thought of it over a very long period of time as things got sort of worse and worse and worse, to be honest. And now I've made it. There's nothing that's changed in the last couple of days that's would ever, I wouldn't create this kerfuffle if I was just going to flippantly go in and come back, go out and then flip back in.
What was the turning point for you in making this decision?
The straw that broke the camel's back was to be actually in central Queensland, working for the National Party, helping them with fundraising through the LNP, about to speak at their federal divisional council meeting, like speak to party members, and someone who I think, when they say, like, all I could get from the reporter close to me, that's always a very bad sign, leaked the story about me going to One Nation, which just completely blew my weekend out of the water. And it made things incredibly awkward, and I just thought, okay, I've arrived there. And it's like in any time, once we'll go back to the relationship, you get to that point, you go, I've arrived there, that's it. And I thought, I've got to deal with this now, and I'm going to deal with it, and that's it. Let's go.
Have you spoken to David Littlecroft?
Welcome to ABC TV viewers joining us. We're live in Tamworth, New South Wales, where Nationals MP Barnaby Joyce is speaking.
Polite and cordial, and I basically expressed to him what I've expressed to you in a more succinct way, but a very polite way, and that's how the conversation finished. There was no acrimony in it. It was very polite. Susan, I had a long conversation with Susan once more. I actually respect Susan. All the way through this, Susan has been... Susan's been really good. I have different philosophical views than her, and one is net zero, I suppose, and that's her right. But I'd hate for this to be seen as some attack on Susan. It is not.
What appeals to you about One Nation if you do decide to join?
Well, let's just not go too far ahead, right? Let's talk about general people. I respect. I think that in the Greens, Peter Whish-Wilson is a good guy, and he strongly believes in his cause. I believe that, I'm good mates with Bill Shorten. I think that Bill, and I get on all right with Albo, that they believe in their cause, and I believe that Pauline believes in her cause, and it would be fair enough to say there are a lot of positions she has which I have similar positions. And also note that in the past, Pauline and I have fought bitterly against one another, but things move on, and I think that a lot of her causes that I have, and I'm on a similar wavelength with. But if you say everything, no, of course not. But I'm not a member of One Nation. I have not asked for a membership form. I'm still a member of the National Party, but I'm being as honest as I can, so I don't talk in riddles to you.
Why do you think you've been linked to One Nation then?
Oh no, because philosophically there's a lot of similarities. My dislike of, not dislike, I believe net zero is anathema. Property rights for farmers are, above everything, making sure that property rights are reinstalled for farmers, that private ownership means something. I have more an overt sense of, parochial sense of, I think people are all patriots, but it's a different way they're portrayed. I'm more, I believe in the Australian flag. I believe in that we've got to be, in my time, everyone in my family served, and myself only in the reserves, we've all served. You're not going to support a country if you don't love it. You've got to love your country. You've got to love Australia. And when people come out, always say things that run the nation down, that find something wrong with us, and there's something bad about us, and we've got to feel, angry about ourselves and be ashamed about ourselves. I don't like that. It's not healthy. At some stage, you'll want people to defend this nation, and they're not going to defend something they don't like. And other, simple things that societies are all different types. Australia is a Judeo-Christian society. That doesn't mean everybody trots off to church, but it's just what we are. We're not an Islamic society. And I've worked there, and did work in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, and good luck to them. It's a different way of seeing the world. We're certainly not an atheistic society. That's Mao and Stalin and Pol Pot. That's really dangerous. Tens of millions of people die when you start, because it takes away the worth of the individual and puts the state as primary of it. And that's another issue. I believe the individual is primary and the state is your servant. And that's a similarity I have. Not that you're a servant of the state and an article of the state. The state is there for your defence, for your health. But it can't just come into every corner of your life and start telling you what to do. And that's a concern for me. I suppose a classic example of that recently was not the issue with COVID, but the excesses that came into place, where all of a sudden you felt like the state was locking you in a house, and it just seemed to have too much power in your life. And there's probably people here today with COVID, but we're all going to go away and lock ourselves in our rooms for 14 days. There are things that just keep the state in check. Don't have it so powerful, and that's a similarity I have. Because other people come up and say, "Oh, we're going to make an exception for that." Another issue. See, you got me going. Another issue is the ratchet, the social ratchet on property rights, on individual rights, has always been moving, I would say, to the left. And then when we come into government, we don't move it back to the right, where people actually vote. We just say it's not going to go as fast to the left as it was going before. No, you've got to reinstall people's property rights, reinstall their individual rights, reinstall the things that what we had. Go back and have a reflective look at where we were in 1980 and 1990, and say, are they the rights you have now? And if they're not, say, well, why not?
Okay, so 15 years as local member for the seat of New England in New South Wales. A thank you there from Barnaby Joyce, who will not be recontesting the seat at the next election. He's held a news conference there in Tamworth, where, of course, he was questioned about any potential move to One Nation, and there he wouldn't be drawn on that. Now, Joyce is the former leader of the Nationals. He said in a statement over the weekend that his relationship with the Nationals' current leader, David Littleproud, had, like a sadness in some marriages, irreparably broken down. Those were his words. There have been reports of an apparent flirtation with One Nation, so that was what he was addressing there. And Barnaby Joyce hasn't spelled out his next move there. We didn't get that in that news conference, but he says that he has been happy to be reading in the paper statements that the coalition is going to, quote, get out of net zero, were his words. That's what he's been calling for. And the Nationals have a formal review underway. So just again there, no clear answers as to Barnaby Joyce's next move, but a thank you to the local